Hey!
Hey! Hello!
Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is AThomas. It's so good to see you all, and I was a kid at this school once too, so I know all about it. I'm here to tell y'all a little bit about the bees in my speech called What's All the Buzz About? So just last weekend, my family went and got a swarm of bees out of a couch. Now, this is a pretty sticky situation, but it does make us the proud owners of about 2,500,000 bees. Now, in a report by Mr. D.L. Wesley, a longtime beekeeper, he says there are about 50,000 bees in each hive. So that makes us owners of about 50 hives here. Now, with all this population that goes on, it's such a small space for them to live in that there has to be some form of order that goes on. So there has to be someone that leads and others that do the work. And we're going to start with the leader. We call her the queen. She starts off like every other bee, and they start off as a tiny egg. Now, in 16 days, she's going to hatch and begin to do what she needs to do. Now you see here, she's longer than all of these other bees around her. But her wings are also shorter. And because her wings are shorter, she can't fly very often. She only does it at least once, sometimes twice in her life. And because she lives to be up to 2 years old, this is a long time to be cooped up in the hive. Now she does have a stinger, but she doesn't sting people, so she never loses it. And now we gotta talk about all these bees that are around her. Those are the worker bees. Here in this picture, we do see that there's a worker bee out there getting some pollen. You've got it. I call these her little bloomers. She takes about 21 days to hatch out of her hive, or her little comb, her cell. And she is the smallest, but she does the most work in the hive, hence the name worker bee. In the summer, she only lives about 6 weeks. In the winter, she can live up to 6 months to do the job she needs to do there. But according to the Moody publishers in their video, City of the Bees, if we worked as hard as this little bee did, we'd only live about as long as she did too. So, on to the only boys in the hive, the drones. They are longer than the workers, but shorter than the queen. They do have the biggest eyes. They have no stinger, so if you ever get stung, it's not by the drone, it's most likely the worker bee. And when she stings you, she does lose her stinger, and that causes her to die, but this guy doesn't. And in my personal opinion, he kind of looks like a horsefly. But what do y'all think?
Yeah.
Looks kind of like a horsefly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, on to what these bees do. Now the queen here, she really only has one job. And according to the California Academy of Sciences, that one job is to lay the eggs. Now she can produce certain smells that tell the worker bees what they need to do every day. And that smell is called pheromones. Now, the bees, the worker bees here, they do everything else. And the first thing they do after they're hatched is they clean their room. Show of hands, clean their room this morning? Okay, you guys are much better kids than I was in the morning. My mom is always fussing at me about cleaning my room. But that's the first thing they do. Then they work as nurse bees for the little babies that are about to hatch. They work as housekeepers. They work as guard bees. Those are the bees that you always see that kind of poking their heads out at you. Those are the ones that are looking at you. Those are the guard bees. And after about 23 days in the hive, she starts doing this job. And this is what they call foraging. She goes and she gets pollen and nectar and goes and tells the other bees in the hive about it. Now the drone bee, back to him, he only has one job, and that is to assist the queen. And when that job is done, he leaves the hive. Now, there's one more bee that I forgot to tell you about, and he or she is the biggest bee of all, and that is the beekeeper. Now, the beekeeper has a lot of important roles to fulfill for the hive. For starters, the beekeeper builds them this lovely home. And we're going to check inside and see what this home's all about, see what else the beekeeper has to give them. And the beekeeper makes these pretty frames for them to build their wax on. Now this wax, it's got all these pretty shapes, but this is where they store all of the things they have. They have their eggs, they have larvae, they have honey, pollen, anything they have to store goes in all these little hexagon-shaped cells. Now besides all that, the beekeeper does have to provide them with food because especially in the wintertime, because there's not a lot of flowers out there during the winter, am I right?
No.
You don't really see too many. Everything dies in the winter. So how he does that, he or she, is they use this little contraption here called a feeder, and they put a mixture of sugar and water in there that resembles the nectar that bees like to drink. And that is their food for the winter time. The beekeeper also has to provide them with medicine sometimes that protects them from bugs such as the little hive beetle that's roaming around in here somewhere. He's not very big, so you can't really see him, but he is in there. And there are other things like what they call wax moths and diseases that can get to them. So we just try to make sure that the bees stay happy and healthy. So I hope that seeing all these different bees and what they do and how the beekeeper takes care of them has really given you a look about what has to go on in here to make sure that everything runs smoothly. However, sometimes I realize that the best teacher is not somebody standing up here telling you all about it, but it's actually getting inside a hive and seeing what goes on. So should your family and you decide that you want to get some bees, it's not very hard to find a local beekeeper. They will point you in the right direction and help you get started. So I want to say thank you to all my sources. Thank you to you guys for listening to me. And thank you so much for this opportunity.